What's the wildest thing your child has done? Did you have a good laugh or learn an important lesson from that experience? Do you want to share your story? Maybe you can't stop thinking of a huge accomplishment that you had from being a mom. I want to hear about that too. Welcome to my podcast. The Wealth of Wellness presents This Incredible Mom Life. Hi, I'm Ami, a mom of 3 boys who have given me countless laughs, proud mama moments, and endless challenges. Join me every week as we hear the craziest and most unbelievable mom stories. I'll be sharing the huge accomplishments and triumphs of both our moms and their kids. We'll giggle, cheer on the kids, and discuss obstacles and lessons learned along the way. I want to hear if your 3-year-old says a stampede of boogies just came out of his nose, or if your 10-year-old created an infomercial to save his dad's receding hairline, or even if your 13-year-old's robotics project turned into a disaster. I also want to know if your 15-year-old finally came out of his shell in high school and joined a bunch of clubs, and even the fencing team. Let's share, laugh, learn, and grow together, one crazy mom story at a time. Hello and welcome. Today I have a supermom guest and fellow boy mom with me who has taken a different approach on how she teaches her children. Bridgid Berkano is a mystic of the home and hearth and a certified parenting coach, specializing in deep transformational work that revitalizes how you feel in your body, engage in relationships, and move through the world. Through her unique blend of spiritual wisdom and practical tools, she helps clients uncover their core patterns, build a compassionate working relationship with their difficulties, and align their lives with authenticity and joy. Over 12 years of studying energy healing and parent coaching, she developed her own framework called the 5 Petals of the Well Woman's Rose, which integrates the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and relational aspects of a woman's life. She believes our lives are not separate parts, but an interconnected whole. And this framework is an exploration and skill-building program for true wholeness. Bridgid's life reflects this philosophy. She lives in Tulalip, Washington, where she unschools her 2 sons, runs a business with her husband, and thrives in the community and garden she's cultivated. Her own path of transformation continues to fuel her passion for helping clients build a life they love through the same wisdom that guides her own evolution. Tune in to the 5 Petal podcast to hear her chat all about whole life integration with special guests. Thank you, Bridgid, for taking time out of your day to be here with me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. One of those special guests was Amy, by the way.
Yes. Yes, and we're back at it again today. So Bridgid, tell us who you are mom to.
I've got 2 boys. They are 8 and 11. Their names are Ogden and Quinn.
And we have 3 cats. And that counts. And of course, all the other children in my sphere. I'm part of a really beautiful community.
Nice. And tell us one of your crazy mom stories.
Okay. So the one I chose was, and it kind of ties into the introduction that you brought is, I tried to do the normal thing of sending my child to public school, and he was already diagnosed as being on the spectrum, and he had already done a developmental preschool that went great. They just set it up really, really well for his personality and his needs. And then they said he did so well that he could just go into general kindergarten with 30 other kids in the big school. And so I just went with it. I don't like to hold my kids back from opportunities. So we tried it out. And it was so tricky. I mean, my son, he's a very sweet child, and but he has this authentic sense of inner knowing that like no one can mess with, and I just love that about him. So his days at school, he would end up just running around the classroom and no one could catch him, and then he'd run out of the out of the door, like down the hall, out of the building. Teachers are like ducking and diving, and he's just like evading everyone. And he'd run out of the building and down the street before they could catch him. And this happened a few times,
Oh my gosh.
even with their measures of trying to prevent this.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah. So um, it turned into, well, okay, if he doesn't want to be in the classroom, then he can go to the special ed office and play with Legos. And I was thinking like that's fine if he wants to take a break. Like that's okay with me. This is kindergarten. I'm not worried about a whole lot here. So yeah, let's see how that works. And it ended up that he was in this windowless office playing with Legos, or he was at recess, and that was his entire day. So I decided, okay, well, I have another toddler at home who I'm just home with anyways. I can do better than Legos in a windowless room. So I decided to keep him home with me, and we've been unschooling ever since.
Nice. Now I know we had talked before, but tell me the emotional aspects of what you went through when your child was running out of school and your teachers couldn't catch him. And
Seasoned by that point. um, I had already a different school had already not worked out, and it was a Waldorf co-op, and I loved it because the moms there were so cool, and it was like beautiful nature-based learning, lots of art, and this is all stuff that I really love. My kid couldn't care less about it, and he again just wanted to do his own thing. So that didn't work out. I was invited to either come and be with him all the time that he was there, which wouldn't have worked for me because I had a baby in my backpack, and that was just it wasn't going to work out. And I was paying for it, so I was like, no, I
right.
need a break. So I could either do that or take him out of the program. So I had already learned what it felt like not to fit in. And that moment was much more difficult for me. I really cried about that. So this time, with him not fitting into a more rigid environment that I wasn't really sold on that. I just thought I'd try it out because it was free and the people were nice. Um, when he didn't fit in there and he ran out of school, I was actually honestly, I was proud of him. I was very proud. And so I just said, okay, I tried it. Not for us.
that is a great twist on it. But so what did you learn from this experience?
Yeah, well, what I was learning during that experience was I was actually reading a book called The Whole Brain Child by Dan Siegel, and I think Tina Bryson also was on that one with him too. They write a lot of books together. And I was learning that a child or anyone, they can't learn when their nervous system is under threat. And my kid's behavior of running and running and running kind of told me that he was uncomfortable in that situation and he wasn't going to learn anything there, with the way it was all structured, like they couldn't really just work with him in that way. It was too individualized. So, yeah, so what I learned through that experience was like, this stuff is no joke.
Yes.
And so my time with him became all about like how to help him learn comfortably.
So tell me how you teach your kids now, because I find this interesting.
Right. So I don't teach my kids. Yeah, it's a whole paradigm shift. I what I do as their mother is I work to facilitate experiences for them where they learn what they want to know. Kind of like a roundabout way of saying it. So for one of my kids, he loves literature. He's an insatiable reader. This is that older one who runs, and so I'm trying to help that creativity, that natural creativity inside of him. So I started like a LARPing club, which LARP stands for live action role play. If you ever see people dressed up as like medieval knights out in the woods and they're like playing with swords, they're LARPing. And I thought, okay, that seems like something my kid would really like to do. And so for the past year, every other week, a bunch of kids get together in the woods with swords and they take turns creating the story together.
Nice.
Yeah, and they, get some of that aggression out, and there's mystery and danger. And so my son has a really fun time like thinking of these worlds that they're going to play out, and then he'll, tell me and his dad and his grandparents all about like these stories that they're playing. So that's one way that I facilitate his learning in a way that's fun for him. And
Nice.
it's pretty hands off for me. Besides just setting up the situation, I'm like, okay, now go have
Now
fun.
go. Yes. And I know you're teaching your younger son in a different way because he has other interests.
Yeah, yeah. So that one, I mean, if my kid really wants to mentor with me, I'd love to share with them anything that I know. So my younger son is really into cooking, and I encouraged that early on because when I was early on in motherhood, cooking was my only creative outlet. I'm used to being an artist and having more time to devote to things that I loved. And so transition into motherhood was a difficult process for me. But cooking is a way that I just really used to express myself and explore and enjoy the sensuality of it, and started learning how to garden and make all sorts of things from scratch. So my younger son just always loved that, and now he's 8 and he hand rolls pasta. He's great with a knife. He dices my onions and crushes my garlic for me, and he'll just save it all up in a little jar, and that's just what he loves to do. And he also takes it upon himself to learn from lots of different like celebrity chefs. He's in the culinary school of YouTube, you know.
That
Um,
is great.
yeah, yeah, because he doesn't really like the kid classes.
Right.
They're just a little too basic for his taste. He
Hmm.
wants like really in depth, like ethnic cuisine. And
Nice. That's great.
so yeah, and it's given him this window to other cultures. So he gets really interested in the languages and the geography and the just different kind of ways of being for other people and with their food. So I'm really excited about exploring all that as he gets older.
Fine. Hopefully travel gets added to that as he gets older, right?
Yeah, that's the dream.
All right. So we're going to switch gears a little bit. Um, I know you talk a little bit about codependency and stuff. And I know a lot of women are struggling with it. So can you just tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah. So codependent means I am dependent on another person to make me feel a certain way.
Yep.
And if you can imagine all the sorts of conflicts that would come from that, when you're trying to present yourself in a certain way to make somebody else act a different way so that you feel the way that you want to feel, and it gets so tangled, and that's not the same as interdependence, which is the weaving of different people who are contributing in a way that they feel good about. Codependency is the shadow version of that, where you're just a little too much in other people's business, and you let other people change your sense of values and boundaries, and you, yeah, this sort of self abandonment. So I believe that mothers are incredibly important to the home. I believe that mothers are the spiritual leaders of the home. And like I said, I'm a home hearth and parenting coach. And it's so much more than just like how we talk to our kids. There's some misconceptions of like gentle parenting where like if I say this, my kid won't have a tantrum. And that is not what this is about. This is about, first of all, who am I as a mother? I am the person who
Mm-hmm.
brought these people into the world. So I am very important in this conversation. Who am I? What do I need? What sort of culture do I want to create in my family? Based on my own values and my own love and desire. And then who are these people that I'm bringing into the world? Who are they? How do they contribute to the culture in their own special way? And life is a dance between these truths. And then who is my partner? If I have a partner, who are they authentically? We might not agree on everything, but I need to communicate in a way that is safe for me and respectful of them,
Mm-hmm.
and show them who I really am so that they have a real person to be in relationship with. This is the work of recovering from codependency.
Yes. And I lived with that for a long time. I was trying to please others. I was trying to make them change. And, it just wasn't working out. But then I realized going through my own healing journey that that wasn't great.
It'll run you into the ground, and I know
Yes.
you know that.
Yeah. But you have this amazing 5 petal framework to get you out of the state of codependency. So discuss the different petals of life and how they can all help somebody find themselves again.
Yeah, thank you. The 5 petal framework. So there is a beautiful plant indigenous to this continent called the wild rose. We call it the wild rose, and it has 5 petals, and it smells amazing. And it's it's a rose that has not been cultivated. The sort of long stem romance rose that you're used to, that's something that's been cultivated over time, and that's
Mm-hmm.
cute. A people's relationship with plants and how we change each other, that's cool. But this is the wild rose. This is a big, beautiful bush that has softness, beautiful smell, color, and it's also protected. It has boundaries. So that is why I chose to use this as sort of the icon of my framework. And the 5 petals are mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and relational. And it just sort of clicked that way. These are all the areas that I've learned to coach with, and
Yeah.
just kind of pick and choose which. And it takes all of the petals to make a well functioning rose.
Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah. And I totally agree with that. Once I started with my healing journey, it was like I started with physical symptoms and then I was like, okay, let's work on mental now because I feel better. And now let's work on spirituality and now let's work on relationships. So it's just, yeah, it flows, like you said, one into the other. Nice. Now I've seen on social media that you use a hashtag called feral wife. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. I'm a homeschooler, and um I love ancestral arts like stitching, and I think it's really cool. Fiber arts and cooking from scratch and all that. So, I get a lot of content that's people would call trad wives. Have you ever heard of the trad wife
I have
thing?
not.
Okay, so that's supposed to be like the traditional wife.
Got it.
And it's kind of and it's funny because trad wives won't ever call themselves trad wives, but there's like mommy wars. There's this idea that like a woman's place is in the home, and she's not supposed to have a job, and she's not supposed to have agency, and the trad wife thing just perpetuates that, and whatever. I don't care. It's just a funny conversation. But I like trad wife content because I love being at home, and I in the home and hearth.
Mhm.
Uh, so okay, and then the feral wife is taking that and saying, "Wait a minute, like this is not patriarchal. This is wildness. This is me living with my garden. This is me owning my menstrual cycle and the rawness and the beauty of being this feminine goddess of the hearth, and hear me roar in a different kind of way. It's messy, it's decolonized.
Yes. Untraditional.
Yeah. Well, what is traditional? Because if I could, traditional is such a funny word. Maybe I'll have to look up the definition, but I feel like I don't understand it, because what is traditional? To me, what is traditional is the nature of humans for thousands of years. And this trad trend is kind of a hollow shadow version of it that's actually very recent to human history, right along with the industrialized school system.
Interesting. Huh. Lines up.
I could go on, but if anybody wants to follow me and hang out, you can see my antics.
um, well, yeah. So let's go back to your 5 petal approach, and you have a self-assessment that women could do. So tell us more about that.
Yeah. It's a free quiz. It's a PDF you can go ahead and download. And it's just a few questions. There's 5 questions. Rate yourself 1 to 10 on each petal. And then you get a sense of kind of where you're at in your overall balance. And then I have some suggestions for, what I would recommend if any of these petals needed a little bolstering. So you get
Oh,
a lot of
nice. That's
value
cool.
and direction.
All right. So it's a self-reflection of where you're starting, and then some tips to help improve the scores.
Exactly.
Cool. And I will link that down below in the show notes. Do you have any tips for moms who want to get out of that daily codependent, just struggling through every day and really take care of themselves?
So many tips. I mean, it really just depends on where you're at. I think the very first step would be to see if you can hold on to this concept that who you are is important.
I love that, especially for moms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was my first big realization of motherhood. I wanted to do my best. I wanted to give my kid everything. And I realized that all my kid really wants and really needs is me, meaning
Mm-hmm.
who I am, not what I'm doing, but who I am. And then it became a quest to uncover that.
Right. Yeah. Great. And if somebody likes what they heard from you today, where can they connect with you?
Go find my website, bridgidberkano.com. I would love for you to just read what I have on there, and you can book a free call if you want to just chat with me and pick my brain about anything. I love to meet new people. I love to talk, and I'm also pretty active on Instagram if you want to see more of my little snippets and tangents.
That's great.
Oh, and also
Um,
the podcast. Listen to my podcast.
yes, listen to our podcast. It's amazing. Um, well, thank you, Bridgid, for spending this time with us and teaching us something new.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Are you struggling to be the best mom you can be? Are you fatigued, overwhelmed, and stressed out? Are you losing precious time with your family because of PMS? If so, join my signature 12-week program, the Vibrant Women Project, and you will be a much happier mom. In just 3 months, you will learn how to eliminate your symptoms of PMS, increase your energy, reduce stress, and fully enjoy this incredible mom life. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something from these stories. If you enjoy this show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. It really helps this show grow. If you have a mom story you would like to share, click on the link in the description below on becoming a podcast guest. Remember, the content on this podcast is for general information only. It does not replace any medical advice given by your healthcare providers. Please check with your doctor if you have any questions about your specific condition before starting any new diet or exercise regimen. Thank you, and you will hear from me soon.